Good morning, everyone. It's Robert from On My Turntable. Hoping you a great day today. It's Monday, back again with another video. I released one earlier this morning. Felt the need to do this one. I've been wanting to do this one for a while. Still drinking my coffee. Coffee kind of morning. But yeah, 2 videos in one day. Doesn't happen too often, but I just felt the need to do it. But wanted to do this one for a while to talk about one of my favorite hidden gems, I guess, because I don't hear a lot of talk about this band. You either hate this band or you love this band. To me, that's what I feel. I love them. It's Styx. I know a lot of people don't like Styx, just like they don't like Journey, just like they don't like REO Speedwagon. But I tell you, their first few albums rocked. They were heavy, hard. Great American rock band, formed in Chicago, Illinois in 1972. Originally comprised of Dennis DeYoung, James J.Y. Young, John Curulewski, and twin brothers Chuck and John Panozzo. As I said, when they first started out, their first few albums, their first 4 basically, were heavy and rocked out. Just like the bands I mentioned earlier, Journey and REO Speedwagon, even Chicago, their first few albums were a lot different than their later albums. Hard and heavy, tons of guitar, very few ballads, just a great bunch of rockin' albums. They then changed, just like any other band that I mentioned, Styx changed to more melodic rock, hard rock, progressive rock with acoustic sounds. And then later in the 80s, they changed to more of a pop, ballady type of band. I don't know why bands do that. Is it the pressures from the record company, commercial success? I really don't know. They go from, they basically do a 180. Sorry, they go from hard and heavy to poppy and sappy, and you almost lose interest after a while. Originally known as the Tradewinds, way back when they were teenagers, like 14, 15. They had to change the name from the Tradewinds because there was another pretty successful band named the Tradewinds. So they changed to TW4 when they were just a 4-piece band, and became pretty successful in the Chicago area. And then they signed to Wooden Nickels. And I've got a great CD of their first 4 albums on Wooden Nickel. Unfortunately, with these cases, that's why I don't like CD cases. It's busted, but nothing wrong with the CDs themselves. It's just some of these jewel cases sometimes break, and they're annoying. But anyway, their first 4 albums, Styx 1 or Styx debut, kind of a garage rock, mostly cover type of album. They did have a single, Best Thing, from it. James J.Y. Young sang most of the tracks. Dennis DeYoung sang a few, but James J.Y. Young did most of the vocals, and again, it rocks. It rocks. Styx 2 is on here. I've got on vinyl as well. Cover's rough, but the vinyl itself is in decent shape. Styx 2, 1973 release. More upbeat. Starting to see some progressive rock happening in there. You Need Love is a great rockin' tune. I'm Gonna Make You Feel It. There's a couple of proggy songs on there. A Day, which is sung by John Curulewski. And then there's a boogie track on there, You Better Ask. Also, probably maybe one of their more successful songs, the power ballad Lady, is on here. And it, Dennis DeYoung became kind of the father of ballad or power ballad songs. But it became pretty successful and put them on the map. with Styx 2. Then you have on here as well their third album, The Serpent is Rising. Right up there. Serpent is Rising. I also have it on vinyl. Not a bad album. It's a concept album. The third album by Styx. A lot of sexual innuendos in this one. I don't understand why they did that. But I guess it was the time. Who knows, drug influence or whatever. But even Dennis DeYoung said this was their worst album ever. The worst recording. One of the worst records ever produced in music history. That's what Dennis DeYoung says. It's okay. I don't play it a lot, but it's a decent album. But then they came out with Man of Miracles, their fourth album. Oh, sorry, right there. Man of Miracles, the fourth album, and the last to be on the Wooden Nickel label. And Dennis DeYoung and James J.Y. shared vocals on this one. James did all the hard rockers. Dennis DeYoung did more of the ballads and the prog rock tracks on that one. Decent album. It's kind of cool. I wish I could find it on vinyl. And then they changed to the Atlantic label. Sorry, A&M Records label. I'm sorry, A&M Records label. And produced this awesome album. Equinox, the fifth album. This is where they began their more progressive and glam rock and power ballad tracks. Lorelei, one of the big hits on here. Their second U.S. top 10 hit. Also, John Curulewski would be the last to feature on this album. He would be replaced by Tommy Shaw on the next album. But you got Light Up, great opening track. Lorelei, Mother Dear, Lonely Child, Midnight Ride, Born for Adventure, Prelude 12, and Sweet Madam Blue. I love this album. I love it. Got to find it on vinyl sometime. And then they came out with the great Crystal Ball, the sixth album by the band, introducing Tommy Shaw to the world. Mademoiselle was Tommy Shaw's vocal debut on the album. You got big, catchy hooking tracks on here. Big progressive sound on Crystal Ball. Such a great album. Great album. My introduction to the band, The Grand Illusion. This one happens to be on gold vinyl. The seventh album by the band. I found it in a convenience store. Remember when convenience stores would sell albums? Or maybe you don't. Mine did in my local area. And the cover intrigued me. I said, what's this all about? Who's Styx? And I just played it to death. This is not the original copy. 1977 release. You've got 3 million copies. 6 million copies sold. Initially 3 million, then it bumped up to 6 million. Launched the band to superstardom with Come Sail Away and Fooling Yourself. Great album. I love it. I love it. I Don't Have Pieces of Eight, the eighth album by the band, released in 78. You've got Blue Collar Man and Renegade, both huge hits by the band. I do have Cornerstone, kind of the beginning of the sappy stuff happening. You got the ninth album, you got that big hit Babe on this one. Quite a contrast from the earlier rock and stuff. Cool track, Boat on the River. It's the first U.S. top 10 5 albums. Again, it's a musical transition for the band. They went from more of a pop sound to more from a progressive sound from their earlier albums. It's a decent album, but Babe just kind of ruined it for me. Beautiful track about his wife, Dennis DeYoung's wife, but why they get into the sappy stuff, I don't know. One of my favorites, though, this is a cool album. This is a concept album. This is Paradise Theater, the 10th album by the band. If you look hard enough, you can see Styx logo on the vinyl, which has always been cool to me. The 10th album, 1981 release, most commercially successful album by the band. You got 4 hits on this one. Best of Times. You've got Too Much Time on My Hand. You've got Nothing Ever Goes Planned, and Rockin' the Paradise. It's a concept album about Chicago's Paradise Theater that opened in 1928 and closed in 1956. And then, unfortunately, it was demolished. But it's kind of a metaphor for America's changing times from the late 70s into the 80s. But great album, Paradise Theater. This was kind of the demise of the band. Kilroy was here. Dennis DeYoung wanted to make this one a concept live performance, and it was very difficult for the band to. So a lot of musical direction changes that the band didn't really like. The 11th album by the band, 1983 release, a concept album and a rock opera about a world where rock music is outlawed, and it'll be the last to have the classic lineup of Dennis DeYoung, Tommy Shaw, James J.Y. Young, and John Panozzo and Chuck Panozzo. You did have a couple of hit singles, Mr. Roboto and Don't Let It End. But Rolling Stones ranked it number 50 of the 50th greatest concept albums of all time. So they thought it might have been a decent album. I don't have Edge of the Century, the 12th album, 1990 release. The first album to feature Glenn Burtnick, and the final album to feature John Panozzo, as he would pass away, unfortunately, in 1996. And also the last album on A&M Records. I'm also missing Brave New World, their 13th album, 1999 release. The first album to feature the remarkable Todd Sucherman on drums, replacing John Panozzo. And the last album to feature Dennis DeYoung. He'd be out of the band. Chuck Panozzo, John's twin brother, even though credited as a full-time member, he would be a part-time member and still is part-time with the band. Cyclorama, I don't have either. 2003 release. The first album to feature Canadian Lawrence Gowan, known as Gowan in Canada. Again, Dennis DeYoung is booted out of the band in 1999. Big Bang Theory, I don't have that either. The 15th album. It's the first album of covers by the band. You got I'm the Walrus, I Can See for Miles, Can't Find My Way Home by Blind Faith, Willie Dixon cover, It Don't Make Sense, You Can't Make Peace, I Need No Doctor, Ray Charles cover, One Way Out, an Allman Brothers cover, A Salty Dog, a Procol Harum cover, Summer in the City, Lovin' Spoonfuls, Manic Depression, Jimi Hendrix, Talking About the Good Times, Pretty Things cover, Locomotive Breath by Jethro Tull, Find the Cost of Freedom, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, Wishing Well, it's a free cover, and Blue Collar Man, they re-recorded Blue Collar Man, big hit by Tommy Shaw. I do have a great concept album, The Mission, the 16th album by the band. It's a concept album about the mission to Mars in 2033. The whole thing was written by Tommy Shaw. He started out with just playing a couple of little riffs, and it turned out to this whole awesome concept album. And you got Overture, Gone, 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 100 Million Miles from Home, Trouble at the Big Show, Locomotive, Radio Silence, The Great Good, Time May Bend, 10,000 Ways, Red Storm, All Systems Stable, Q Dive, The Outpost, and Mission to Mars. This is a great album. Lawrence Gowan and Tommy Shaw share most of the vocals on this one. Lawrence Gowan has a great voice. He really did a great job replacing Dennis DeYoung. Even though there are Dennis DeYoung followers, I think Lawrence Gowan does a fantastic job on this one. And one of the albums that I voted as perhaps the best album of 2021 when it came out is their latest album, Crash of the Crowns, the 17th album by the band. This is an amazing album. Ricky Phillips was playing bass. He would leave the band, unfortunately, to spend more time with his family. But this is an amazing album. I love it. If you don't know Crash of the Crown, it's an awesome album. Written during COVID, so all the parts were recorded separately, but they managed to put together a fantastic album. Again, one of my favorites of 2021 for sure. And finally, from Styx, double live album, Caught in the Act, 1984 release. Music Time was one of the singles off of this one. And after this one, unfortunately, Tommy Shaw would leave to pursue a solo career. The band went kind of in hiatus for the rest of the 80s. And also, it would be kind of the last of the lineup of Dennis DeYoung, James Young, Chuck Panozzo, John Panozzo, Tommy Shaw. Tommy Shaw would return to the band in 1995. And again, John Panozzo, unfortunately, would pass away in 1996. It's a decent album. It's a later album. So Mr. Robato's on this one. You've got Dare. You've got Music Time. Too Much Time on My Hands. Babe. Snowblind. I love Snowblind. The Best of Times. Sweet Man in Blue. Rockin' the Paradise. Blue Collar Man. Miss America. Don't Let It End. Fooling Yourself, The Angry Young Man, Cristobal, Come Sail Away. So some great tracks on this one. And it's a great live album as well. But there you have it, guys. There's my look at Styx. One of my favorite bands, my hidden gem band. Have yourself a great rest of the day. Love you all. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye now.